We are live. Welcome to another Tuesday night here at Cameos. My name is O'Shaughnessy, and I am with my partner in crime, my companion, my nerd friend, Samson. Today we are talking through Doctor Strange trailers. And then a little later, we're gonna hit some Moon Knight episode 5 coming in on the tail end. But first, Doctor Strange right around the corner. We got to talk about it. There's been a lot of promotional materials, and I'm pretty hyped about this movie. I feel like I'm ready for what's to come, but it could completely throw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie. Could go either way.
I have some thoughts,
Yeah.
but I know I feel like they had to do some rewrites because this was supposed to come out before Spider-Man.
Right.
No, no,
Right.
sorry. Yes, it was. It was
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
come out
Yeah.
before
I always
Spider-Man.
forget about that.
So I wonder what the original version was. I'm excited for what we're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
But I got some thoughts of how they're doing things, especially given the characters that they have
Mm.
that we know for sure in the movie, not
Right.
like the cameos that are in there.
Right. The main cast. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what we know about the movie so far. This seemingly picks up directly from the consequences of Doctor Strange's actions in No Way Home, where he casts that spell and then everybody forgets. It was supposed to be they were forget that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and then big spoilers. If you haven't seen Spider-Man, big spoilers across the board. If you don't want spoilers for any MCU stuff coming up, if you're like Derek, get out of here. Don't listen, because we're gonna spoil it all. But yeah, at the end of Spider-Man, he casts that spell, and he's like, nobody remembers Peter Parker. Like Peter Parker from across all the universes. That's how he stopped it. And so all the promotional material has pretty much been like, as a result of you doing that, well, you kind of open Pandora's box. So, right. So that's what we know. I mean, that's what we know about why are you laughing? Why are you giggling?
No. I'm just I'm thinking through things.
Looking at Addis. Addis in the chat.
No, I'm not looking at his chat. I think, and we know that there's a multiversal element. We know he jumps between universes and gets into
Sure.
all these different places. We know there's a lot of cameos in there, and because we've heard that, we've seen the teasers. We've seen there's a very important one I want to talk about, but we've seen all those cameos and characters. We know that the what if characters kind of pop up in the film as well. We don't know who the villain is. We don't really know what the plot is like. I'm and we sorry, we also know this is kind of like Marvel's horror story.
Right.
So
Sam
I feel like that
Raimi.
gives us I feel like that gives us maybe a clue.
Yeah, Sam
into what it
Raimi
could
is
be about.
directing this one. For those of you guys who don't know, he did Spider-Man 1 and 2. What else has he done? I didn't do all my homework on this one. Sam Raimi is a very well-known director, though, aside from just Spider-Man 1 and 2. Oh, he also did Evil Dead. And there's always a cameo in his movies of Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell was in the original Spider-Man movie, and yeah. Okay, so that was his big thing, was Evil Dead. Just, not my cup of tea, but they were very cult classics for sure. And this movie definitely has some horror vibes to it, for sure.
I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be good. So plot wise, I'm thinking that it's probably all right. Well, first, before we talk about that, they introduce America Chavez.
Yeah.
And I think that
What's her
she's
deal?
the main. Oh, so she's from she's from a multiverse. She's from like a random universe within the multiverse. It's called a utopian parallel.
Really?
So she's a resident of
I
there.
thought she was just from like America, just some
Nah,
American born and
nah,
bred. She has like an American thing on her jacket.
yeah, I don't know why, but she's from like a place called Utopian Parallel, and
Okay.
her she can like fly, she's strong, and she can like kick she can like kick open holes in the multiverse, so she can
Right.
like jump
Very
between.
relevant for this movie.
Right, so I assume that's where the movie starts off, right? Like
Okay.
Doctor Strange and Wong like are chasing her around, maybe. Because I assume she's like a big part of the film. She's on the poster.
Yeah.
But
She's
and
definitely one of the main characters. So
yeah.
yeah, you got her, Doctor Strange, Wong, and
Mhm.
Wanda are seemingly like the front and center going to be taking part in the whole movie.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And she was actually supposed to be introduced in the Spider-Man film. That was part of the rewrite.
Oh, really? America Chavez
Yeah,
was, or
yeah.
Wanda
She was
was? Oh,
no America Chavez. She was supposed to be introduced in the Spider-Man. No, wait, what was it called? What was
No
it?
Way
I don't
Home.
remember.
No Way
Yeah, No Way
Home.
Home. So she's supposed to be in that.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Huh.
So I assume like she's a big part of this. And then maybe as Wong and Doctor Strange are trying to get to her, uh, they need to figure out how to traverse the multiverse. And then they go to Wanda, seeing that Wanda's peered into the multiverse, and then all this other stuff happens. We know
Mm.
Baron Mordo was in there.
Yep.
Uh,
Baron Mordo was the he was not the bad guy in the first movie, but he was the other he wasn't a student, but he was like a teacher.
I mean, at one point he was a student, and then he was like the best.
Right.
He's like the main acolyte,
Yeah, he
right?
was the
For
main acolyte when
the Ancient
Doctor
One.
Strange was training.
Yes.
And then he basically at the end of the movie he was like, fuck this, like you guys, there's too many sorcerers and you guys are screwing things up, like I'm out. And then you see him in the stinger in the after part of the movie basically saying like there's too many sorcerers, he's just walking around people who are just starting to show their powers and he's like, nope, gotcha, and like just screwing them up. But that was last time we saw him, which was way
Yeah.
back in Doctor Strange 1.
But he is a villain in this in Doctor Strange's like comic world. He's a villain, so he could actually be the villain in the film. We know that he's trying to get rid of
But you
get rid of wizards.
you mentioned that you think it's America Chavez.
No, so I think that she's the main reason that they're running around between the multiverse, because they're chasing her, trying to stop her from jumping from place to place, get her back to where she belongs. I don't think she's like actually the villain. For me, the villain is probably between like Wanda, Mordu, and then maybe Chthon.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because we know like Wanda gets her chaos magic from Cthulhu. She has the what's that book?
The Darkhold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second, because like this movie is obviously picking up right after WandaVision. So anybody who watched WandaVision, you remember that the way that that one left off was with her basically going through the Darkhold. It looked like trying to find her kids, or at least she happened upon her kids while she was reading that book that she got from Agatha. And this movie has done a lot of promotional materials to show like her back interacting with her kids. I think it's a pretty reasonable assumption that she's going to be the bad guy given what we've seen. Probably trying to, one theory that I've heard of is that she is trying to hunt down America Chavez to get her powers to like hop between dimensions so that she can go find a world where her kids are real and alive and then get them and bring them back. And that would be why Doctor Strange and Wong are like protecting America Chavez, because like you can see there's a part in the trailer where Wanda is in like the Illuminati part, right, where Doctor Strange is getting brought up in the cuffs and he goes up the stairs, and Wanda is seemingly like breaks in and she's doing some magic. She's got blood all over her face. When it zooms in, there's a freeze frame where you see in her eyeball like America Chavez standing there in what seems like the middle of the room, and she's like got her hand pointed up at her.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I just don't think that she's trying to go steal kids from her alternate reality
You don't think so?
version of herself. No, like she's not going to kidnap children from herself.
But that is
I
like that goes back so much into like the comic books of like for in House of M, which this also seems to be pulling a little bit from. She was willing, like whatever. She was like, "You're not going to take my kids from me, no matter what." So if they
yeah,
lean
but
into that,
her kids.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like she's
they're
not going
none
to
of
take
them
a
are
version.
actually her kids. Like,
Right. So, but she knows that they're this version of her. Those are their kids, right? She's not gonna go take those kids from it. I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think that she's going to. I think she does want America. It sounds weird. I think she does want America Chavez, but I think she wants to use her to get to Cthulhu to then because in the comics she absorbs like him
mm,
to get her chaos magic, and I think that's what she wants to do. If she gets to him, she can get the chaos magic that she needs to like bring her own kids into her world.
what if they do like what
What
if they do
reality?
like a misdirect? So like Doctor Strange gets pulled over by the interdimensional time police, brought before the Illuminati, and they're like, "Yo, here's the deal. You can't do that anymore, but we've got a much bigger threat. You've got this Nexus being Wanda fucking around with chaos magic and trying to go find her lost kids. Like she's doing all this crazy stuff and you got to stop her cuz she's going to like tear a hole in the fabric of reality." And then Doctor Strange is like, "Oh, dip. All right, I'll help you out cuz that sounds bad." And then we get one of those classic, like Wanda wasn't actually trying to get back her kids, but as you said, like she was trying to find the writer, the author of the Darkhold to learn more about it, or something like that.
Mm.
Because another angle that they could take is that it seems like somebody's like messing with her in this movie.
Mm.
Like you see her down on her knees, like in front of her kids at one point in the trailers, where her kids are like in front of her, like they were in the WandaVision show, but then they like disappear. It kind of seems like somebody might be messing with her. And another
Right,
one
but
of
I think that's Cthulhu.
one of his
Like,
right hand men were Nightmare, and he was like a big dude with like illusions and like casting illusions on people. And that's another thing that I've read could be a possibility where
could be.
you get somebody like literally casting some kind of reality altering magic on her to get her to see stuff that's not actually there, to make her go further crazy.
Like in Shang-Chi with the Mandarin, and they made the whatever the being, I forgot the Cthulhu like being, I forgot what it was
The
called.
dragon, the dick dragon.
Yeah, whatever it was, made him see vision so he would come and open the gate. I think I think Cthulhu or
Very
maybe
similar to
Nightmare
that.
is playing on Wanda and trying to
Mm-hmm.
get Wanda to get America to then open a portal to Cthulhu's realm. Uh, and then maybe Cthulhu wants to possess Wanda
Yeah, there is
or something. I feel like there's something going on. I feel like Wanda is probably the
there
main
is a lot of
focus.
like history tie-in for the Darkhold to make people like go be the worst version of themselves. So like there was a whole series of novels called like the Darkhold Defilers or the Darkhold Defenders, where basically like Doctor Doom had dug up the Darkhold from like underneath America in this like subterranean like city. He found it, dug it up. Wanda was like, "Yo, stop. Like this is my thing. Don't fuck with it." Doctor Doom is like, "I'm Doom. You don't know." And then he goes into the portal and immediately comes out and he's like melted. Like it's just he like couldn't handle it. He got messed up. So he teleports away and Wanda's like, "Yo, the only way I can do this is by summoning in these 5 heroes to like battle evil." One was Iron Man, one was Spider-Man, one was Black Bolt, one was the Wasp, and they like filled these roles, like these archetypes, like Librarian, Joker, all these whatever. Those guys were supposed to read a part of the book each, and then they were going to go in and they were going to be able to fight Cthulhu with like that little bit of power. They all went crazy. They all lost their minds from like reading the little bit of the Darkhold that they did. And they turned into these like crazy abomination versions of themselves. Wanda still used them to like fight, but that when I was reading that, it made me think like if Wanda's reading through this thing, they're obviously not going to pull directly from the comics. Like none of that stuff is going to happen one for one, but it would be interesting if the book kind of like drives her a little bit insane. You know what I mean? Because then she
could,
might be
but
stealing kids from other dimensions and stuff like that.
I,
Like,
I still don't think she's stealing kids. Like she's at the end of the day, she's still the Scarlet Witch.
bro, did you
So
see that
she's
part of
supposed to be able to
her?
handle all this.
Did you see that part where she was like covered in the blood and stuff? Like she did not look
Yeah,
like she had all of her mental capacities in at that moment.
I think she just looked dangerous to me. I still don't think like she's a Scarlet Witch. She's supposed to be able to control chaos magic. That's what she's always been able to do. This is what she was meant for.
Nick is saying the Dick Dragon was actually called Fing Fang Fu. I don't believe you.
It's not. That's not what it's
I
called.
don't believe you at all.
Um, but yeah, I think that I don't think that she is like going to lose all her faculties. I think she's just wants thirst for this power to like create her children in her world, like in her own universe, in the same way that in the throughout the multiverse, her children actually exist with another version of herself. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what
What
happens
if
with the
she's
plot.
like, what if she's like, I want to be with my kids, and then Doctor Strange and everybody else is like, oh, that means that she wants to kidnap them, but then she actually wants to go. I feel like they're gonna do a gotcha in this movie where you feel like the bad guy is gonna be somebody, you're gonna find out that it's somebody else. I don't think Wanda's
Yeah,
gonna end
probably.
up being the big bad.
No, I still think the big bad is probably Cthulhu, but just
Chthon
that
or
in the
Nightmare or
yeah, but in the
one of
comics she
those
absorbs Cthulhu anyway, and
ministers of evil. Yeah.
that's how you get chaos magic into Wanda in the way that she's supposed to have it in the first place.
It's gonna be hard, I think, for them to pull in any of those like demon type villains like Mephisto or Chthon or Nightmare, less to a less degree, but they're the market play in China. They can't have like representations of the devil in their stuff, like nothing with big red horns or anything like that. Like you can't. That's
just
like not
but
allowed
they
in China.
just don't design them that way. Just take the horns off.
That's true.
Problem solved.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. I guess they could do that. Mephisto is literally like the devil, though. So it'd be
Yes.
hard. That would be hard to redesign him to like fall within, because like China is one of the biggest markets for Disney. So
Yeah, but they made an X-Men movie with Nightcrawler, who's a blue devil.
that's true.
I
Well, that was
I
before
think there's
Disney.
there's ways
That
around it.
wasn't Disney.
No,
That
no,
was
no,
Fox.
no. But my point is that that movie's probably still showed in China. Like it's not like
Maybe.
it
Maybe
didn't
there's
show
like a
worldwide.
disclaimer at the beginning of the movie, like
Yeah,
he's,
there's a way.
He's not a devil. He's supporter of, you know,
There's a way that to get
supporter
around
of the
that.
communist agenda. Um. What was I about to
Oh,
say?
yeah, you mentioned the Illuminati.
Yeah. So that scene
Earlier.
where Doctor Strange is getting brought up in the cuffs. We definitely have a ton of cameos in this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
we got a yellow wheelchair Professor X.
Yeah. So unless they're doing like the biggest high jinks of all time, and they're just really trying to, like, people are saying it's going to be hilarious if it's actually James McAvoy, and they just like dubbed it over with Patrick Stewart's voice just to mess with people. But yeah, it seems like Patrick Stewart definitely is going to be in this movie for sure.
Yeah, and who else? We got Captain Britain because we saw her
Mm-hmm.
her shield. But just
Captain Carter
for the
not
Illuminati.
Captain Britain.
Sorry, Captain Carter.
Captain
Carter,
Britain's
sorry.
somebody different.
Carter.
That's a dude, right?
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, Captain
But for
Carter.
that like Illuminati portion, and just for like for reference for everyone listening, the Illuminati is like a group of heroes that kind of control things from behind the scenes. It was in the comics. It's Professor X, Doctor Strange, uh, Tony Stark, Black Bolt, Namor, and Reed Richards. So those six. Black Panther is also there, but he's not a member because he he doesn't like what they're about to do. And he knows it's going to be a problem, but they always meet with him, so he's always around. And he's also in Wakanda. They meet in Wakanda, sorry. And then at some point, Captain America is part of the Illuminati. So that's how all these characters tie in. But they like, I'm assuming when they go to whatever universe has Illuminati, like the Illuminati kind of just knows what's going on. So especially if Reed Richards and all these like genius people are there, they kind of are aware of the multiverse and all these things.
There's a scene right when you see Captain Carter. If you want to go back and look at this, if you pause it, like right when Captain Carter's like sliding in, she's like lighting up her jetpack, which is a weird thing. She has a jetpack. There's something on the ground that people are saying might be Reed Richards like laid out, because it kind of looks like what happens to him when he gets like clocked and just spreads out like a mass of a puddle of a person. And that's in that frame. There's something there. It's either a piece of fabric that is like blue and black and kind of looks weird, or it could be Reed Richards. And people are also saying,
I'm not pausing a trailer to zoom in on this thing on the ground. I'm not, but I do hope Reed Richards is in it. It would make a lot of sense. It's a good way to bring, like, you know, they got all the Fox stuff back, so it's a good way to bring X-Men and Fantastic Four.
We know the Fantastic Four movie's coming. I don't know that we have a date for that. If there is one, it's a couple
I don't
years
think
out.
there's a date yet.
It's 2024 at the earliest.
Yeah, but it's really easy. It all makes sense. And it would make sense for like the Illuminati to know that Doctor Strange is now in their universe, and to put them in cuffs and be like, yo, you gotta come here. I don't know what conversation they have. I don't think it's like, yeah, you gotta stop Wanda. I don't think they care. Like at one point in the comics, Illuminati like destroy another planet Earth because like the universes are colliding. So they destroy the other one so that their universe isn't destroyed. So they're not like they're not like good. I don't know why I can't say benevolent.
It seems like this is one thing that we can sort of extrapolate if this Illuminati is taking place on like a version of Earth and not some pocket dimension or something like that, like what they did with the TVA, which I think it's going to be another dimension since we're already full throttle into that. So why not just go all the way? It seems like this version of Earth that has the Illuminati on it, or whatever planet this is a version of Ultron that succeeded, because you see those Ultron bots like are basically the ones walking Doctor Strange up when he's in the cuffs.
Yeah, but that's because Tony Stark is just alive.
But Tony Stark was alive after Ultron, but Ultron failed in our universe. This could be a universe where
you mean
Ultron
that?
Succeeded,
Yeah,
where Ultron was like, I mean, succeeded as in was a success. Like, Ultron didn't look at the internet and just say, oh my God, we got to burn down humanity. It's too far gone. This is a version of Ultron where he ended up being what, they wanted him to be.
So it could be either that, or I know like in Iron Man 3, they had, it was like, I don't know if they called them, not Iron Patriots. They called them like Iron Defenders or something like that. So Tony Stark had like legions of like suits flying around.
These
he also had it in
like
Iron Man 2
Ultron
as well.
bots, though, like way more. They had like the face. Like go back and look at the things that are walking them up. I don't think those are Iron Man suits. I think those are
no. They're not Iron Man suits. It's just he had like legions of robots.
Right,
Iron Man. Even in Avengers 2, he had his Iron Legion flying around, saving things.
Right.
So if they look more like Ultron, you could be right. Like this Ultron program succeeded. That would be a nice tie-in. Like, yeah, this is another universe. This stuff worked out. We have Captain Carter in here instead. Hopefully we get a Namor. We probably won't get Black Bolt because the Inhumans show failed. So I don't think they're going to bring Inhumans into this. But we'll probably get to see Reed Richards and Namor, Professor X, all come into the MCU.
There was a lot of speculation about the rest of those people up on the stage and who they were. One definitely looked like Baron Mordo walking through the back with the staff. A lot of people thought that was Blade at first, but then they realized it was just the staff that Baron Mordo had. Patrick Stewart's up there. A lot of people are saying one of them looks like Black Panther, but if it's like Killmonger Panther, like what we saw in What If, if Captain
Shuri, if anything,
that would be cool. But I feel like that would be too confusing because we're almost definitely going to get Shuri as Black Panther in our universe. So if they were to introduce her first in another universe, that would just kind of be a weird setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like it might be Killmonger if they have Black Panther.
Yeah.
It might be Killmonger, and then another one might be Strange Supreme, who we see a bunch throughout the trailers with the gray hair and the ponytail.
I think
like
a version of Doctor Strange is in the Illuminati.
Combat ready, like savior of Earth, Doctor Strange. It would be cool to see Blade up there. Blade was a member of the Illuminati, right? But I don't know that we're going to see him.
I don't. The Illuminati that I remember, and this is because Professor X died. It was Beast, Namor, Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, Black Bolt, and then Black Panther. Of course, is just there. He's not like
a member.
He's a No, he's a member, but like he doesn't agree with what they're doing. And he knows there's a bunch of conflict, so he's like, yeah, I'm not trying to be part of this. But he's still there. He's still privy to everything they discuss. So I'm thinking probably in the movie we'll probably get Namor, Reed Richards, just so they can introduce them. Captain Carter, because Captain America was in the Illuminati at one point.
This would be
Professor X, and then maybe Tony Stark, and then Doctor Strange.
I think this would be a good opportunity to introduce both X-Men and Fantastic Four in just a small way, where when they get fully introduced later, it's not like out of nowhere. It's like a callback
Illuminati
to this movie. Yeah,
just put them in put those two in the Illuminati. Well, Namor's a mutant anyway, so you put them in the Illuminati. Boom, you've introduced mutants. You've introduced the Fantastic Four. Let's begin.
Let's begin. Yeah, there was a lot of good reading that I did leading up to this one. House of M was probably my favorite. If y'all haven't read House of M, amazing comic book run. Basically, Wanda loses her mind from a lot of the things that have happened in the series already, and she's basically like, mutants aren't the like underdogs anymore. They're not like second class citizens. They are homo superior, and she creates a whole world out of that, where she could just be with her kids, and her dad is basically king of the world, and there's like a small underground legion of people that are like against it. Only Wolverine remembers originally that it's like something's wrong. It kind of seems like WandaVision was their play on that. So I don't think we're going to go further down into that path of things, especially because mutants aren't a thing yet in the MCU, and the whole premise of House of M was based around mutants versus not being mutants. But it does seem like it's a big thing with her kids, which is why I'm sticking to the theory that I think she might be hunting children through the multiverse.
I don't think she's hunting.
I think she read the Darkhold. She lost her mind a little bit. She comes, Doctor Strange runs into Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart's like, yo, get a handle on her. And then the rest of it is trying to get Wanda back under control, so she stops trying to go steal kids from other dimensions.
And then Uatu issues an Amber Alert for Wiccan and Speed. You gotta get them back. I'm running with
multiversal
Amber Alert. Everybody's phone throughout the multiverse. Everybody's phone.
I love it. That's great.
Rings.
That's great.
I'm running with the.
I think we're gonna learn how powerful Wanda like truly is in this, if nothing else. I think that's gonna be the warning when Patrick Stewart's like, we should tell him the truth. The truth is going to be like Wanda is more harm than she is good, which was one of the main things that they discussed in House of M. Was like, it could be that this Patrick Stewart was one that tried to save Wanda from doing all the shit. Like maybe this Patrick Stewart is one that House of M happened in his universe, where he's like, hey, I'm something called a mutant, and she wanted us to be all, she she was basically tricked in my universe, and that would be cool. They could tell that really quick. They could do like a quick synopsis of basically House of M and be like, this is what happened in my universe. Let's not have that happen again, shall we? I'm
You
curious.
really want a House of M reference in this film in some way.
I do. I think it's gonna happen.
I think I'm running with the whole, Wanda's trying to get to Chthon's universe. She wants America to do that. Doctor Strange and Wong are like trying to actively stop her. And as they are running through the multiverse, they meet the Illuminati. They meet like all these different versions of themselves and different versions of other characters. And then at the end, Wanda somehow absorbs Chthon, and now she has her chaos magic. So then you can get your House of M, where she, in her world, creates her children, and however way she did it in the comics. I forgot how her and Vision actually had children.
Well, originally, it was a trick by Mephisto. Mephisto basically like conjured them, or they were his children sort of, and she like took them by mistake or something. It was confusing. Those were old those were like back in the 70s or 80s when they just continuity wasn't really as important, and they were like, oh, they were Mephisto's children kind of, and they just didn't explain it. But Agatha Harkness basically came around and she was like, hey, and in the comics, Agatha's more of like a mentor to Wanda. She's not like the villain. I mean, she's kind of like an anti-hero, but she comes along and she's like,
not good in the comics.
She's like, yo, Wanda, your kids ain't real. Got to give them back. She wipes her memory. She wipes Wanda's memory of it. But Wanda ends up obviously remembering or finding out that she had the kids, and that's sort of what
she gets it back
off.
And then actually has the kids, like Wiccan and Speed for real.
Yeah.
And then Wiccan and Speed die, then House of M, and you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Same old story. You know that old story. Classics. Kids.
My kids are
summoned
dead.
by a devil and then reborn, and now I'm wilding out. Yeah. All right. So we are going to see this movie Thursday nights. We're going to see Who's Right. 7:30.
Thank you for reminding me, because I would have been
Hoffman Theater.
No! Don't tell them where we're going.
Okay, well, it's like Addis and Nick in here are the only people that are
whoever
watching this
listens
right now. Yeah.
If you listen to this before Thursday, do not run up on me at the Hoffman. Yeah.
Anyway,
don't do that.
We will probably do. I think next Monday we should do episode on Doctor Strange about what we thought about the movie. Who was right definitely. And who was more wrong, how many House of M references there were, if the movie sucked or if it was great. There's a lot riding on this one. Personally, I think this is basically like the closest I think that they're going to do to like the Avengers. I think they're going to cap off these sagas with like big hits like this. Not necessarily like an Avengers team up movie, but with like oh shit, like this is a big event kind of thing. This seems like the big event. No Way Home was kind of a taste. What was the budget for this movie?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 400.
I think this has got to be one of the more expensive ones.
Disney don't care. They want to make that back plus every film.
Most movies, minus the Avengers movies, sit around like 200 mil. Maybe they don't say until the movie's actually been released. I'm not seeing anything.
We'll see. We'll see who's closer to the budget as well.
All right, y'all. That's going to do it for this portion of cameos. So thanks for coming and hanging out for Doctor Strange Talk. Back on Mondays. This will be live. We're putting it wherever. Drop your comments, thoughts in the comments section. You want to hear us talk about anything in particular, you know how to reach us. Put it in the chat. And that'll do it on that one. Till next time. And
sorry. Bing bong.
Bing bong. And bing bong. All right. let's do round two. Bringing it back. Let's talk about the topic of the hour, of the week, of the month, of the year so far. This is big news.
Of the year.
This is big news. Moon Knight episode 5. You refused to talk to me about this leading up because you wanted it all to be a surprise. So we are here fresh at Cameos talking about Moon Knight episode 5. We're going to go through the synopsis. We're going to talk through the episode. I don't know if I want to know your thoughts on this episode first or not. I feel like it's going to come out organically as we go through anyway. So I feel like at the top we should just say what did you think about this? What was this episode to you? Because I've already given my side away.
Oh yeah, I loved the episode. It was very good.
All right, cool.
Finally got the background that we needed.
Yes. Yeah, everybody
got to learn some things.
Each episode we were like, we got to learn more about Mark, a little bit more about Mark, and they delivered that in spades. I kind of wish it wasn't a whole episode of background into him. I thought it was clever the way they did it, with like the duat being used as like a plot device to tell his whole backstory. I thought that was cool, but with there only being like 5 episodes, I just kind of wish maybe they had trimmed this down to like 3/4 of an episode and given us a little bit more on either end of it. But aside from that, I thought everything that they did was very well done. I can't think of anything that I would have preferred they cut. But I wish maybe they had made the episode like 15 minutes longer or something like that, just so that we could have gotten something. I mean, cliffhanger, you got to leave it on a cliffhanger, but
they did. They left it. We'll talk about.
I know, but
let's go through the synopsis.
Yeah.
Of how so we get to how they left it.
Yeah, go ahead, kick it off.
The episode. So, we open up with some shots to paint the picture for the rest of the episode. You see like a kid screaming, which is Mark, and his mom is like berating him. Mark snaps back into it, and for some reason his face is tore up while he's sitting in front of Dr. Harrow. We don't know why. I was wondering as I was watching, I was like, what happened to his face? Like, did someone hit him? What happened here? Like, I thought he was just screaming, and now he's in front of Harrow screaming, or face bloodied, but okay. Tara tells Mark and Steven like that they actually did die. She explains that they're in the duat, and then she explains that this is an afterlife, not the afterlife. And I like that they did that because that leaves room open for like Valhalla, Tartarus, like other mythos that should be in the Marvel universe. So I've really appreciated that.
Tawaret.
Yes, I appreciate her saying this is not the afterlife. It's just one of them.
To the ancestral plane, which is Black Panther's home in the afterlife.
Right. Yeah, right. So it doesn't get rid of all that stuff. It's just the duat is just one of many.
That was a nice line. I saw that and I appreciated that too.
So she takes their hearts out to weigh them against the feather of truth on the scales of justice. And then Steven, I appreciate that Steven has to explain all this stuff to Mark. Yep. It's a good way for the audience to now learn without it
much better than if he was like a rich philanthropist billionaire person. Like that personality just would have been totally lost in this season. So
I like how they did it. After that, Tarwit sees that the hearts aren't full. So since they're incomplete, they have to, go and balance their scales.
Gotta learn a little bit about what's troubling Mark.
Right. And Mark just wants to, beat up Tarwet, but like, nah, it's a god. So it's not gonna work. So they start getting into some memories. We see the scenes from the show as memories. That's how it starts off. And then Steven sees something that he doesn't recognize. He runs over there. We see that Steven doesn't know like some things about his own past, um, which is like very important for the future of the episode because all of this is like Steven learning about Mark.
Right.
Um, so they enter a room, it's full of dead bodies. All those bodies are people that Mark has killed or feels responsible for killing. And then
I think
Mark,
he killed him.
uh, no, I say that for the last person that they see.
Okay.
Uh, because the last person that they see is like a little boy in the room,
That's true.
and the little boy's just running around. Um, so Stephen Falk chases the boy, locks Mark out so he can't follow him. And then the scene changes again, and I like how they switch these scenes back and forth, where every time they go into a new room, it's a new memory of Mark's.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just appreciate how they did that. So it makes the like asylum feel work out for how the duat set up. Oh,
Yeah.
and I skipped this, but the reason that it's set up this way is because the human mind can't truly fathom what this realm is. So it
Even though
gives
it does, because he walks out and he
Mhm.
immediately sees it happening
Right.
like that. So like it was immediately thrown out the window. She was like, "Your mind can't handle it," and he opens a door
Yeah.
and it's like, "Oh, it's handling it." But
It's
the
the, it's
duo was
the
cool. I thought I did like that they
mm,
showed it. Some CGI showing off there. That was pulled right out of the
mm,
comics. You see the duat a lot, or not a lot, but you see the duat a couple times when they do things like when somebody dies and their soul
mm,
gets judged in the afterlife.
mm.
That was taken right out of a lot of source material, which was cool.
I like that I really like that they stick to the script
Mm,
for lack of a better phrase. I don't have one right now.
yeah.
But I do like that they do that. Um, next scene, sorry, the memories when Mark is a kid and he's with his brother, and they're with their parents, and then they're playing make believe. Mark is sorry, yes, Mark is Dr. Grant, and his little brother, what's his brother name? Randall, right?
Roro.
Randall is Roro.
I don't remember.
Randall Roro is a
Roro.
Rosier. Um,
Rosser.
Rosier.
Rosser.
Uh, Rosser. They go on a
That's what
little
they call him.
adventure. They go into a
Rosser.
cave, but it's raining. Steven follows, and then he sees that the rain is
Kind
like
of
pouring.
parents are like, okay, you can play in this cave, but don't go when it's raining because you'll literally die. Like it just
Yeah,
fills up as soon as it starts raining. That thing is full in like a minute. And the parents are just
But
like,
they told him not to go over there. Like at some point, you got to have some.
they said our
Kids got to have
parents
some
said to
responsibilities,
not go only when it's raining.
right? And they went anyway.
So their punishment is to die? Like what?
Punishment is death. You knew the rules.
Mom is the worst. All right, this is the beginning of the mom being the absolute worst person. This is the worst character. Just worst.
The worst. I don't. That's to me. That's not when she's the worst. I think
It
later
starts
is when
it.
she's the worst. I'm from a different generation. My parents say don't turn the stove on.
We're
I
from
don't
the
turn the
same
stove on.
generation.
Right. So we
The
didn't. We're not
kids were
turning the
like
stove on. You could die.
6. The kids were like 6 and 4, and it's like, don't go into the cave when it rains. Why not? It just don't do it. Are we gonna die?
Me and my sister were the same age. We knew the risk, so we weren't turning that stove on. If they said don't do it, we're not doing it.
I always hate when they do things like this in shows where it's like, in my mind, in like my head canon, I'm like, all right, there's no way that cave filled up that fast. So they must have been
Mhm.
playing in there for a little bit for it to like
Mhm.
fill up like that.
Mhm.
But then where the hell was mom and dad? Like they just assumed
Uh,
that you guys weren't playing in the cave that's gonna kill you as soon as it starts raining. Like,
Well, it's clearly like a crawl space in there, so maybe they couldn't get far enough. Mark had to get out at some point, so maybe there's just something they don't show where Mark gets saved and his brother didn't get
I
saved from the cave.
guess it just happened so fast.
Yeah, it did, but the episode has to go on. They only got 55
I
minutes.
guess.
You know, it is what it is.
I know.
So Steven's like trying to save the kids. Mark is seeing things through Steven's eyes, so he has to relive this memory.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the scene switches to Randall's funeral. Um, Mark and Steven meet up at the funeral memory, and then we see how Mark's mom treats him, and like she blames Mark for his brother dying, which a mother should never do. This is cruddy.
Row.
Um, so after that, baby Mark runs upstairs. Steven follows him. The memory changes again. I really like how they did that. and then you're at Mark's ninth birthday. His mom is not celebrating with him. Cold as ice. Steven runs upstairs again, new memory.
Hmm.
12th birthday. Mom is being terrible, still blaming Mark uh, for his brother's death.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is this like he only remembers his birthdays for some reason? Like these are like some horrible, like if you ever watched Inside Out, that Pixar movie, it's like these
mhm.
are all like core memories and they're all just terrible birthdays. Like mom's getting drunk at my birthday again. Oh, it's my 13th birthday. Mom's getting drunk at my birthday again and saying that I
I
killed my
mean,
brother.
the traumatic experiences. His
I
most
guess
traumatic
so.
experience is on your
He's like,
birthday is supposed to be
shit,
a
pick a
joyous
different
occasion.
door, Steven. Like, damn,
Steven just running around seeing what was going on.
Steven is fucking up.
So Mark runs off on his 12th birthday, baby Mark, or 12-year-old Mark. Steven chases up to Mark's room. He's about to go inside, but then Mark stops him. And when he tackles him, they're like outside, I think. And oh, sorry, they're in the desert, right? They're
Hmm.
talking about like Steven's like, I don't remember my mom this way. Uh, and then Mark's like running away from that latest memory, trying to keep Steven from seeing what's going on. Mark pushes Steven, um, and then yeah, they're at Layla's like dad's death, and that's where Mark explains what actually happened on that night, where he was almost killed by his partner. His partner killed Layla's dad and all those other people, and then Mark crawled into Khonshu's temple,
Hmm.
and that's where the scene switches again and Mark's about to kill himself. Khonshu's like, what a waste. And he's in search of like a warrior. So he um manipulates Mark into becoming his avatar. Uh After that scene, or we see Mark don the suit for the first time in chronologically, because that was like
Yep.
years ago. Uh
Yeah, there was a ton of comic book callbacks in that part.
yeah.
But usually in the comics, like Khonshu's not like blatantly like, oh, your mind is like all kinds of like
Mhm.
messed up. Let me take advantage of you. But here he's basically like, you got a fractured mind.
It's
You're
interesting.
good for me. Like they usually set that behind some kind of like Mark has to discover that where Khonshu was like
Mhm.
taking advantage of him. I thought it was
Mhm.
interesting how Steven just came right out and he was like, yo, he's taking advantage of you, dude. Like he knew your mind's fractured and like you don't have a totally good grip on reality. He's
Mhm.
using you, bro. And Mark's like, nah, I just like to
He
kill
saved our
people.
life.
I like to kill people and he's letting me do that. But
He's gonna let me live and kill tomorrow.
yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that was a lot of that was straight out of the
Um,
comics though, like him crawling to the
mm,
statue and Khonshu saving him like that. Yeah.
mm. So after that, they're
Mhm.
back on the boat. We see the effect of what Haru's doing in the outside world, where all these souls are being judged before they had a chance to, have their scales balanced. Um, and then Steven, asks Taweret to send word to Layla to get Khonshu free so they can, live again. And then Taweret's like, all right, but you got to balance your soul. You can't leave.
Mhm.
And then Taweret turns the boat so it can get out. And she turns the boat towards Osiris's gate because that's the only way in and out of the Duat that they're in. Um, after that, they go. Steven wants to go to the bedroom, to the bedroom memory
Let's go to the
of Mark.
bedroom, Mark.
Uh,
Come on. Let's do it. Let's get weird.
Mark said like, nah, it ain't worth it. I'm not trying to relive this trauma.
It's all Mark is trying to do
um,
this entire episode. He's like, yo, don't make me go there. Steven's like,
yeah.
just, I mean, I get it. Cause like Steven still thinks this is his life, but like,
Mhm.
it's kind of annoying me. He's just like, let me in there. And it's like, dude, just chill, man. This isn't even your life.
It's not, but it's important that Mark relives this trauma. I think there's like
Right. Well, at a
there's a
certain point,
quote.
Steven was like, by this point in the episode, Steven was very much like, what? I don't remember any of this. Our mom wasn't like that. Like, why are
Mhm.
you remembering her like that kind of shit? So this is more about Steven, I think, than them trying to get off the boat. They forgot. They forgot all about
Steven
that.
trying to see what exactly happened
and
why his mom was.
Yeah, this episode was much more about Steven trying to figure out what the hell is going on in his other part of his life. What he finds out how he was created versus them trying to get off of the boat. You know, I mean, they end up doing both, but like that's ultimately what this episode's about. But anyway, so what happens? What happens after that? What do we got next?
Steven, sorry, not Steven. Mark is like Mark starts spazzing.
Right.
Like remembering the things that happened. He's back with Haro again. He's in the office. His face is fine now, but he's confused. And then Haro comments on Mark reliving his past trauma. Explains like this is what makes you. He has a good quote in there. He's like, "Do you think you created Steven to hide from all the awful things you feel you've done in your life, or do you think Steven created you to punish to punish the world for all of the awful things your mother did to you?" It was just a very poignant quote there. That's not my most important moment, but I think that kind of ties to like how Steven / Mark scales balance in the end. So they have that conversation. Mark and Steven are in Mark's childhood room after that. The mom's banging on the door. And the kid Mark is like denying that's his mom. And then we see like Steven is created, right? And then Steven sees the Dr. Steven Grant poster from the movie, realizes he's made up.
That's when it all comes together. We also see his Mark like switch over, like basically his little eyes roll up in his head, and then he starts talking in a little Oliver Twist accent.
Yeah, the terrible British accent.
I gotta put these pens away. What? It's like, okay. But yeah. Okay. I mean, again, my headcanon is like, okay, I'm glad that Steven isn't the main persona, because if that was Oscar Isaac trying to do a real British impression, which maybe it was, but like it wasn't working. So I'm glad that it's completely fabricated. It's an impression of a bad British accent. That's what my headcanon is. Yeah.
And the chat brought up a good point. He has a shitty accent because he made it up as a kid.
Right.
He did. So that's why it's terrible.
And he got it from watching that shitty movie. Like, yeah.
We see Mark's mom grab the belt. We already know what's about to happen. They don't show the child abuse on the show. But
you can hear it.
You can hear it, but you don't get to see it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of confused about that. I want to take a pause real quick, because if the whole reason that he made up Steven to not have to see the bad stuff, as Mark puts it, he was like, that's why I made you, so you wouldn't have to see the bad stuff. It seems like Mark's getting out of there when shit gets real bad. Like he switches over to Steven right before he gets beat. So wouldn't Steven's only memories be of getting his ass beat? Shouldn't it be the other way around?
No, so I think Steven has no recollection of anything that
is he just
happened,
sitting there, like all the putting trauma, his pens away while he's getting hit over the head with the belt?
Yeah.
So I
think part of that comes into play later too, and when we get to that scene, I'll reference this conversation again.
Okay.
Because I think, I will get to the scene. After that, Mark finally says his feelings, how much he hated his mom, how he was treated. Going back to what you said, Steven only got to experience these things because of Mark. So Mark sheltered him from like the true nature of their mom. And then tell Steven that their mom is actually dead. And Steven wants out, like he doesn't believe it. And then boom, now Steven's talking to Harrow.
Right.
And then Steven recognizes the room. We talked about that in the last episode, where the room that they're in is a room from like episode 2 where they fought the Jackal. Um, he's in disbelief. Like, he tells Harl that Mark lied to him about his mom being dead. Harl wants to call Mrs. Grant, and I like that he said Mrs. Grant instead of whatever Mark's mom's actual name is.
Hmm.
Um, so as he's doing that, Steven starts to cry because he doesn't want. Don't call her. He
Because
doesn't
he
want to call
knows.
her.
Because he knows.
He knows full well that she's dead.
Hmm.
Uh, and he laments that his mom is dead later. Scene switches back to the funeral. Mark is there. He's outside. He's just drinking his flask. His dad tells him to come in. He's like, nah. Um, and then Steven sees like this memory of Mark where Mark is like, I'm pretty sure that's Chicago. He's crying. Then Steven takes like in the memory, Steven takes over the body. Then he gets on the phone to make a fake phone call to his mom.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Steven says all this. Then the scene switches back to the boat and the Duat because they're closer to the gate of Osiris
Hmm.
than Taweret expected them to be. They start getting attacked by the sand dune people. So they're trying to bring them back. Oscar Isaac's trying to go back to
she was
Dune.
like, your scales didn't,
Yeah, they didn't balance in
they
time, so
never
now they're getting
balanced.
attacked.
Right. All of
Um,
that soul searching, all of the epiphanies
it wasn't enough.
enough. Wasn't enough. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Mm.
Steven,
So-
you found out you're fake. That sucks.
Yeah, it's sorry, yeah, but now you both have to join the Dune, join the cast
Join
of Dune
the
again.
Dune people, yeah.
They the scribe they fight. Steven like pulls his weight. He's like, "Yo, I'm Mark too. I'm really Mark. I can do this."
I'm really Mark.
They start fighting.
Uh,
Uh, eventually Steven saves Mark, but in doing so, he's like falls into the sand, turns into sand. But when that happens, Mark's scales are balanced at that point, and then boom, he's in the field of reeds, and that's how the episode ends.
boom.
But that's to go back to what you were saying
Yeah.
about Mark sheltering Steven from all the stuff, even though Steven was there and didn't remember anything.
Hmm.
I think for whatever reason, like the whole fake phone call that he made to his mom is part of that, right? He didn't even remember, uh, the fact that he didn't realize, like he didn't even dial a number. He just put a phone to his ear and said, "Hey, mom, like no, you're not talking to anyone. You didn't do anything." That's part of like the whole to me the how he's being sheltered.
Yeah, I think my explanation for this is Steven's persona is kind of like a half-baked personality, and there's like convenient holes in there when it's convenient for the sake of that continuity of his life being not all that bad. You know, he's like cheerful and stuff, and even though he's got like a shitty museum job and lives outside of a guy that's just selling brooms in front of his door every morning and all, like he has to ride the bus to work, and his life is kind of all over the place. He's got insomnia, or so he thinks, but he's still kind of like a cheerful guy. I think the way that Mark created him, at least in my head, is with these convenient little like holes that let him live on a blissful, ignorant life. And the only way that I can think of that makes sense for the explanation would be, yeah, Steven gets crap beat out of him as a kid and gets treated like shit every time he's with his mom, but he's like PTSD. He's like blocking that out. Because otherwise it should be the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's the way that I explain it in my head. Because my first thought was like, wait, he turns into Steven before he gets his ass beat? Like, Steven would be the one that would be like traumatized, you know? But
Steven doesn't remember any of this, and he doesn't remember how his mom actually was. So I wonder what Steven was seeing. Like Steven had to have been in some fantasy world of like adventure and
I think Steven
whatever
was just
Stephen
whatever
Grant in the
he
movie was
needed
doing.
him to be at that time. Stephen Grant was being whatever he needed to be while that terrible shit was going on. Yeah. He was picking up pens, putting them away. That was what he was doing. He wasn't
So he was
getting his
getting
ass beat.
while he was getting beat, he was just picking up pins. So Mark was seeing this happen to him, but Steven was able to just go through the motions of
Maybe.
whatever Steven Grant is supposed to be
I don't know
doing
that
at
Mark
the time.
had to have been there. I think Steven could have been the only pilot on the only person behind the wheel. But,
No, Mark is like a passenger.
right.
So Steven's behind the wheel, but he's focused on the road. Mark sees like the random things happening around as Steven is driving.
Yeah.
Because these are still Mark's memories. He still remembers that his mom did all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's to your point. Whatever job Steven
true.
has to do, like he's picking up the pins. That's what Steven's focused on. He doesn't realize like your mom is beating you right now. You're out of. He's out there. He's just focused on these. He studies his pens.
Okay.
The adventure.
All right. All right. So is Steven dead? The episode leaves off with him like frozen in the sand.
Yes, frozen in the sand.
Scales are now balanced.
I maybe for now. I feel like something interesting is like I said, Tyra Wet noted that the gate of Osiris was closer than it normally is. So I think like at some point Osiris realized what was going on. It was like, oh no, made a mistake. Let's get Mark back here so we can get Khonshu with them so they can stop Harrow. So maybe they make a deal. Like Mark's like, yo, if you want me to help you, give me Steven back. And that's how we get Steven back in the mix.
I don't know that we're.
Plus, he's not real. So
right. So I think for now he's gone.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he might stay dead, at least for now, for two reasons.
Okay.
First, the scales balance when he's gone. So they were up, down, up, down, up, down until he fell off the boat. I think we're going to get the twist in the last episode that the two hearts are for Mark, who's like relatively in control, hands on the wheel, like he's always been sort of driving, at least in some capacity. And then the other heart is going to be for our third persona, Jake. And that,
Wait,
and
what other heart? They didn't pull out his heart.
yeah, they did.
wasn't
She
there.
pulled out two hearts.
Yeah, one for Steven, one for Mark.
But there were still
They should
two
be-
hearts on the scale at the end of it. So I think that other heart is going to be representative of the other side of Mark, which is Jake.
Oh, I just don't think that. I think it just didn't disappear when when Steven fell in the.
But it
sand.
should have. It should have turned to sand or some shit. And
Man.
otherwise, why else? So this is just what I'm thinking. There's two hearts still there. We think that there's a third persona, that one of the other ones would still have been on the boat. And that's this like crazy person that goes around killing people when
Yes.
neither Jake or Steven is in control. So that is the balance to those two hearts, is like you have two sides of Mark, and one is crazy out of balance, and then the other one is, relatively in control, even if he's, not great.
I think the third sarcophagus, if they had weighted against the scales, it would have like completely unbalanced, and he would have went.
I think the
sands.
three personas were what was keeping it out of balance. I think because there are three sides to Mark, it was like unbalanced. So now there's only two sides to him, and he is balanced now. The other reason I think he might stay dead is that Steven's whole purpose was kind of nullified by seeing all of the events of Mark's life play out. It defeats the whole purpose of him. Like, he was created by Mark to not know any of that stuff. And now he does. So he's kind of like so for the purpose of the show, it doesn't really matter. But like to Mark's use of Steven, really?
Yeah, but
All the
Mark,
bad
at
stuff
this
has
point,
already been seen. Steven was
Yeah, but-
created to escape the childhood trauma.
Yeah,
The
but now
childhood
Steven
trauma's
has a new
already been
purpose.
all relived. But that's not why he was originally created.
It's
So
not, but now he needs Steven at this point. He needs that knowledge that Steven has.
that's why they would bring him back. Well, they're
Yeah.
not. I don't think they're going tomb hunting anymore, but
Mm.
maybe they would bring him back at some point because he gets recreated for some new purpose. Like Mark might be like, I did it once, I can make him again, or something like that, and then he like conjures him back up for some, you know, new purpose. But the original reason why this Steven was made
Mm.
is kind of ambivalent, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's negligent at this point. I can't think of the word
That's
that I'm
fair.
looking for.
I still think at this point Steven's an important part for Mark in his life is he's finally shared everything with this other part of himself. So I think he'll make a deal with Osiris. I think there's a reason that the gate is closer than it used to be. So
Okay.
and I do think he still needs like not just for the Egyptian stuff, but in general, Steven is kind of like uh, a better sleuth. He's more analytical. He can figure things out.
Sure, he's puzzle. He's like the guy doing crossword puzzles,
Right.
you know, at the baseball game. I gotcha.
So
I think there is a reason for him. I just think that
yeah,
the reason that he might not come back right away is because his purpose was sort of not needed anymore. The thing that I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned, talking about Osiris's gate being all weird, Tawaret, the one driving the boat. Why is the goddess of childbirth and motherhood driving the boat of the dead? That's supposed to be
Yeah.
Anubis or
I thought about that.
somebody
and
else. Yeah. Also,
I was like,
she's
I just let it go.
definitely standing in. So there's something to that. There's 100%
Okay.
something more to that. Think about it. At the beginning of
'cause
the
she-
episode, she's looking at cards. She's like,
Right.
this is a first for me. Like she makes multiple call outs that like this is not her day job. Like she's filling in for the guy who's supposed to be doing this, which is supposed to be Anubis, is the god of the dead, right?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking that there's something there, and that Osiris maybe is
you make a good
somewhere in the mix, but Tawaret driving the boat makes no sense. And she's
I agree. I didn't think about that at first. Like it's clearly her first day.
Mhm.
It's been a while since human mind has come through there.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's something going on. Okay. I
I don't know the deal with
I
Osiris's
missed
gate being
that.
closer, but
oh no, I think Osiris moved the gate to get Mark back sooner, which is why I think Mark will make a deal to get Steven back.
there is a pretty popular fan theory that well, do you want to hear it first off in case it's a spoiler?
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, go ahead.
there's people that are saying that Harrow, because the one person that we really haven't learned anything about, that we kind of like, you would think that he would have the most backstory, like people would know more about him by this point. Harrow, the avatar for Amit, might actually be Anubis. And that's why he's not there driving the boat. And there might have been some of the evidence for that is, okay, if Amit is stuck in one of the Ushaptis, if she's a little statue, how's he still using her magic? Like we saw, as soon as Khonshu got turned into a statue, all of his shit's gone. So how is Harrow summoning fucking jackals? And speaking of jackals,
yeah,
the head of Anubis is
it's a jackal.
it's a jackal. So he's doing jackal magic. He's got magic. Now there are he's got like the crocodile tattoo, and the cane is a crocodile. But those could just be like, it could be Anubis trying to reincarnate or bring Amit back to life.
Because he
and
wants more souls
more
in the
souls.
duo. Yeah.
And
Okay. That is good. That's a good theory.
there's been talks about maybe in the past there was some kind of dealings between Khonshu and Osiris and Anubis or Amit maybe, and that's why Khonshu got banished, and that's why Amit was turned into an Ushabti, because they were trying to like overthrow the rest of the pantheon of the Egyptian gods. That doesn't have as much evidence, but it does kind of like, it would be interesting if that's why Khonshu got banished, because he was working with these, like Amit got turned into an Ushabti. Why? Because she was evil. I mean, do we know why? She was just evil,
judging souls before their time.
Right?
You can't do that, so you gotta get out of here.
Yeah. So maybe what the deal is like Khonshu and Amit had something going on where like they didn't like the way the other gods were doing it, but they had a falling out because Khonshu thought the judging before the fact wasn't cool, and Amit was like, it's the only way. Could be.
Yeah.
But Anubis being Hera would be a pretty cool twist. And
then it would tie back to,
it would explain why the Duat doesn't have its normal like captain. It would explain why our dude can still do magic. It would explain why it's jackal magic.
And Anubis should be a main antagonist in general. Like this is Anubis's realm of stuff in the first place. So that'd be good. I'd like that.
Anubis and Amit teaming up.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna find out. When does the episode come out? Is it midnight or is it like
tomorrow? Yeah, tonight at midnight.
3 a.m.
Oh, I actually don't know. If it's not midnight, then I don't know. But I'll be watching it tomorrow after Nicole comes home. Yeah. So like overall thoughts on the episode? You know, you liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Was it your favorite episode of the season so far? Or?
Yeah, I always enjoy like clever backstories. I like character development. This had the most development for me. So yeah, it's maybe my favorite episode. I wrote the most about it. So
yeah. This was a long synopsis. Thank you for reading that. I like this episode a lot. The only thing that I wished was that they had been able to be, just only because there's only 6 episodes, that it hadn't have been an entire episode dedicated to the backstory. But they did a lot here that they've not done in any of their stuff up to this point. And I just really appreciate when they're able, like this MCU stuff is able to pull off something that they haven't tried before and that it succeeds, in my opinion. Like they did a really good job of telling this story in this really like clever way, in my opinion, of like telling it through whether Harrow is actually the one in the room with Steven, or if that's just the allegory for what's happening in the Duat, or vice versa. But like that ultimately doesn't matter. You still get this like narrative of like, you know, Mark, Steven going through this crazy stuff, learning about Mark's past. I really thought that was awesome. This was one of my favorite like MCU television entries, period. Like this was one of my more favorite episodes of any of the series, just because of that reason. Even though there was no action, which says a lot about it. I just thought it was really good storytelling, really good writing. The acting is amazing. Oscar Isaac was like chef's kiss. That dude was 10 out of 10. Ethan Hawke, come on, my man. Like
you love Ethan Hawke.
Dude, he was so good in this episode. Like just his like being able to pull it back down to earth. Like I believed him that he was actually trying to help Mark, even though Mark didn't believe it. I was like, dude, just look at him. Like he said he took the bus to get here. Like, why don't you believe him? Like, I thought that was all really cool and really well done. Yeah, I just wish the episode had been a little bit longer so they could have explored a little bit outside of the background, because they have so much left to tidy up in the last episode.
Season 2.
Who the fuck is Arthur Harrow? Yeah. So that was the last thing I wanted to talk about before the debate. I think this was originally planned to be a season, a single season, like a mini series event was how it was originally advertised. And they tweeted out, tune in for the series finale tomorrow. They went back and edited that. Marvel Twitter went back and edited that to say season. So I think it is all but confirmed that they're going to do another season of this.
Or maybe what phase is this? Phase 4? Maybe Phase 4 changed, and instead of doing like a standalone film, they'll
I
stick
don't
with
even know how they're going to categorize
seasons of
this.
shows.
Like, so where's phase 4 going to end with Doctor Strange? Like,
I don't know.
that's where I'm at. Cause like they were
I gotta
able to
check
do
the
it
thing
in a
again.
nice little tidy box in the first saga where you get like bookends for each Avengers movie. With the TV series is like the Captain America and Falcon thing, or Falcon and Winter Soldier thing. That doesn't seem like it's going to tie into any of this stuff.
No, it might, because they're making the movie for.
But I guess Guardians didn't really tie
Yeah,
into
also.
the second arc of.
No, Guardians 2 does. It introduces Eternals.
No.
For-
But I mean, like, Guardians 1 came out in between Avengers 1 and Ultron, but you don't actually meet the Guardians in, like, the big picture thing until Infinity War.
Yeah, but it introduces the Power Stone in
Okay.
the Guardians one. They all tie in some way. You need them all to.
No.
fit the
I get
grinder.
that. I get that.
Yeah.
Also, Doctor Strange wasn't in Ultron either, was he? I don't think he was.
Nah, he wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. So,
All right.
yeah. I guess they could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the debate cast, the cameos portion where we debate our most important scene in the episode, according to us. We did not talk about it ahead of time this time, so
We didn't talk about it ahead of time last time.
we did. You and I, we were like, let's make sure we don't have the same one.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot.
Because if we have the
Okay.
same one, it's going to be a really short debate. But we'll get there when we get there. Let's find out. We'll make it a surprise. So this is the cameos, conflicts, arguments, mullings, and elegant exchanges. We are talking through episode 5 of Moon Knight, the most important scene. The rules are thus. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Each of us is going to get a chance to state our case for why we think our scene is the most important scene this week. Moving forward and in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's just overall the series of the show, why this one has the most weight. We are going to give each of us 60 seconds to state our case and then 45 seconds to rebuttal. And then you, the audience, will declare the winner for who stated the better case for which scene was most important and why. This week, Moon Knight episode 5. So, I'm going to get 60 seconds on the clock. I think you've gone first most times.
You sure?
You can go.
Why don't we ever remember this? I'll go first.
Okay.
I feel
You
like
went
I
first
don't
last
ever
time and
remember.
the time before that, and I think I went first
I
the
really
time
forget.
before that.
You can go first then. I don't care.
No. I'm not saying that I want to go first. I need to hear what
Alright.
you have to say. I
Okay.
think whoever goes first is at a disadvantage. So it's
I'm
entirely
ready, man.
up to you.
I'm stretched, ready to debate.
I'm like between two scenes.
I'll go first then. I'm not between two scenes.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. I'll count you down.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So most important scene in this episode was when Haro explains the organizing principle to Mark. Organized
Mm.
principle is, what is happening uh, in the duat for Mark. So I think that's an important explanation that not only the viewer needs to see, but Mark also needs to hear, so that he can actually go through the steps to balance out his scales and relive his own trauma. And I noted that Haro's the doctor because in the real world, Haro points out that you have chaos within you. So when he gets back into his mind, this person that pointed out the chaos is the one that explains how you have to correct what's going on in your mind. So that's why that's the most important scene, the organizer principle.
Hmm.
That's it.
That's it. That's all she wrote. Okay. All right. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. That is not one of the two that I was thinking about.
All right, good. We never have the same one. That's why I'm not.
All right. All right. I think I got mine. All righty. I'm going to give myself a countdown. Time me at home, folks. 3, 2, 1, and go. The most important scene in Moon Knight episode 5 is when Mark is re-experiencing his time in the desert and he is shot, dead, about to die, and then Khonshu is like, yo, let me give you another shot. He brings Mark back from dying. He was literally about to kill himself because he was just about to die in the desert. Khonshu's like, I'm going to give you another chance. You're going to become the Moon Knight. You're going to be my avatar for justice. That is setting up the entire sequence of events that we saw unfold up to now and before now and everything in between and everything after now. This is literally how Moon Knight becomes Moon Knight. It is the most important scene. We get to see the first awakening of this superhero. We get to see Mark interacting with the god for the first time. We get to see the god's intentions for Mark in this moment. And all of those things make this the most important scene. Cool. All right. Rebuttal on you. You got 45 seconds on the clock. Count you down. 3, 2, and 1, go.
So for that scene, like we already know what happened, right? It's essentially a flashback. We don't need to see a flashback to know, like, oh, you're Moon Knight. This is what happened to you to cause the story that we're in now. We already know that happened to him. To me, it's not relevant. What is relevant is the thought process, like what he's actually going through right now, and the organizing principle like explains why he is going back and forth between each area in the asylum to get through his mind so he can balance his own scales. It really showcases what the viewer and what Mark needs to see and what we need to do. It explains what everything that's happening in the world. As soon as the episode starts, here's explanations.
Time. Okay. That was good. A good rebuttal. But get ready to be rebutted.
All right.
All right. Counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. You're telling me that the most important scene is from a guy playing doctor? He's not even a real doctor. He's explaining to Mark why he has these things going on, which only further complicate what is actually happening in this episode and these last 2 episodes. Like, what the hell is actually going on? Are they with Hera right now? Like, he's explaining something which gives context to the greater overall thing that's going on. Sure, I'll admit that it's putting context in it for the viewer. But none of that matters. Harrow is not there if we think what's happening is actually happening. Harrow is not actually the one explaining that. We are seeing the dawn of Moon Knight. We see Moon Knight be born. How is there anything more important than that? That's the end.
I wish I could rebuttal your rebuttal.
Rebutted. Get double rebutted. All right, so we got some votes in the chat. It seems like it's an even tie right now. So let us know your thoughts. Send us an email. Send me a mail, snail mail. Come knock on my door.
Yeah,
Tell me
let us
who
know
you
what you
thought
think.
was right. Dude.
And I'll tell you right now, Nick Cage is the greatest actor of all time. If that influences
Where's
any
Nick?
any
We need a
votes.
tiebreaker in here. Somebody go get one of our other viewers. How many people? There's allegedly 6 people watching this. So we need more people to weigh in.
Yeah, so send us an email.
Send me an email. Yep. O'Shaughnessy@gmail.com. I think that's my email on here. I don't even know. But yeah, episode 6 tomorrow.
Mhm.
That'll
Excited.
be our last episode that we do on this on Monday. We'll hit you with some Doctor Strange. So for those of you guys that are planning on going and seeing the movie this weekend, definitely join us on Monday. I think that I'm really excited for that podcast. I think that's going to be, I'm really, really looking forward to discussing that at length. It's going to be really hard not to talk about that after we get out of the movie.
I'm gonna ignore you as soon as the movie is.
Me and Nicole
I'm
are
out of
gonna be
here.
shooting the shit.
You're gonna be upset. Like Sam just left.
Sam. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We'll finish up. We'll wrap Moon Knight. You know what I think would be fun after that is if we piss off these Star Wars boys and watch Obi-Wan every week and just talk about how terrible it is.
Let's do it. Can't wait.
No, I'm really looking forward to Obi-Wan. Maybe we'll cover that. I feel like I'll defend it. I mean, I hated Boba Fett, but I also think I like The Mandalorian more than you do. So
Yeah,
maybe we could
it's cool.
maybe we could get into some interesting tat-a-tays on that one.
Yeah, we might need a few cameos for that episode as well.
Yeah, maybe we can
true
bring in
Star
some
Wars
experts,
fanboys.
some experts. All right, well that is gonna do it on this one, I think. Any last words, Samson?
Nah, just that I really hope Nick Cage reprises his role as Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider. Yeah, other than that, man, nothing from me.
It's been real. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. Much love. Yes. We will catch you on the next one. Adios.
Peace. Gone in 60 seconds.
We're gone in 60 seconds. My face is going off.